Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to the screening of Mati Moina, The Clay Bird by Bangladeshi director Tareque Masud as part of Garden Cinema's South Asian Heritage Month, Stories to Tell. I'm really honored to be introducing this film to you this evening and very grateful to Anupama Shankar and Molly Conroy for inviting me to do so. Some of you might be watching this film for the first time, and some of you, like me, are revisiting it as Masud's magnum opus. By way of introducing this film, therefore, I will not be giving away the narrative, but talking a little bit about it by situating it within the cultural and political rubric of East Pakistan and Bangladesh, and Tareque Masud's own writings on the film and cinema in general. So by 2002, when Mati Moina, The Clay Bird was released, Tareque Masud had already produced documentaries and short films such as Adon Shirot, The Inner Strength, on the life and works of the rebellious East Pakistani visual artist S.M. Sultan, as well as his other works, Mukti Gan, Songs of Freedom, Muktir Kotha, Words of Freedom, and Narir Kotha, Women's Stories. Tareque Masud, along with other notable film directors such as Morshidul Islam and Tanvir Mokammel, were both products and proponents of the short film movement in the 1980s and 1990s in Bangladesh. Bangladeshi film scholar Zakir Hussain Raju has written extensively on the role of this trio, Masud, Islam, and Mokammel, in his book Bangladesh Cinema and National Identity in Search of the Modern, where he calls them the three major auteurs of the 1990s and 2000s Bangladesh, who dealt with identity politics as well as the Bangladesh Liberation War of 1971 in its preamble and aftermath. There is a strain of artistic interconnection, exchange, and aesthetics, therefore, in the films produced by this trio, Masud, Islam, and Mokammel, such as Morshidul Islam's The Beginning and Autumn 71, Tanvir Mokammel's River Named Madhumati and On the Bank of Chitra, and Tareque Masud's Songs of Freedom and The Clay Bird. The film club discourse in East Pakistan and thereafter Bangladesh has a long history from early 1960s onwards, bringing European and Western cinema to aspirant film viewers, critics, and directors. Masud, Islam, and Mokammel were, in fact, some of these young aspirants who were trained in film aspiration courses, appreciation courses by Bangladesh Film Archives in 1978. This also underlines Masud's own prolific writings on cinema, music, and other subjects, being guided by the literary culture around films in magazines and periodicals such as Vichitra, Cholochitram, Drupadi, Weekly Bulletin, Weekly Holiday, Film Bulletin, and others. And the two collections of his own writings on cinema, namely Cholochitra Lekha, Writing Cinema, and Cholochitra Jatra, Journey with Films, Masud extensively speaks about his many roles as film director, producer, screenwriter, and lyricist. His films offer complex psychological terrain of his fictional characters, ranging from the physical violences of genocide and war in 1971 and childhood, as we will see in the film tonight, to the search for identity and homeland in films such as Antar Jatra, Inner Journey, and religious extremism in a film like Runway. As a film, The Clay Bird is often discussed as autobiographical, as Masud himself had his early education in the authoritative madrasas of East Pakistan. However, the film is beyond direct resemblances with Tareque Masud's own life. He himself writes that the film is not really autobiographical, but based on childhood memories and experiences, a sort of coming to terms with childhood trauma. It is also a film that captures what Masud calls the coming age of a nation. The crucial years of 1969, 1970, and 1971 are therefore the backdrop of the film's narratives. Now, music, especially folk musical genres and rural rituals, form a very important part of Masud's films. In his other film, Mukti Gan, Songs of Freedom, for example, we see a group of cultural activists touring the refugee camps of East Pakistan, hearing their stories, the stories of the camp dwellers, and singing people's songs. Music as protest, as a signature of religious syncretism, as an opposition to rising fundamentalism, remain emblematic of Masud's other films too, such as Antarjatra and Runway. This is perhaps best captured in Masud's artistic placement of a ritualistic formalized Milad performance in The Claybird, along with the free-flowing folk performance of Palagan or narrative singing within the same rural space. In a posthumously published volume on Tareque Masud's film song lyrics, his wife, Catherine Masud, writes about the inspiration he drew from the folk musical genres of Bangladesh, such as kirtan, kobigan, jarigan, palagan, and so on, and often featured folk performers like Shah Alam Boyati and Mumtaz in his films, such as Martin Moyna, which we will watch tonight. Integral to the ecological and cultural landscape of Bengal region, including current Bangladesh, are numerous folk musical genres that Masud deploys in his art of storytelling. The Palagan or narrative singing performance, for example, in the film, shows a syncretic identity of Islam as opposed to the puritanical religious identity of one of its central characters. Although decades apart from the partition-themed films of another director, renowned director Ritik Ghatak, such as Meghe Dhaka Tara, A Cloud-Capped Star, and Komal Gandhar, A Soft Note, music in Masud's films show a land and cultural landscape torn apart through partition, yet reminiscent of cultural and religious coexistence. This recalling of a folk way of life, a coastal rural life to be specific, has been portrayed in the manner of Masud in a recent 2020 film called Nuna Joler Kabbo, The Salt in Our Waters by Rezwan Shahriar Sumit, as well as Kurabokhi Shun Neura, The Golden Flight of Weathercocks by Muhammad Qayyum, which is also being screened at this festival. Tareque Masud died tragically in a road accident in Bangladesh in 2011 while coming back from a site visit of his unfinished film Kagojer Phul, The Paper Flowers. This film was to be a prequel to The Claybird, following the earlier life of the character of Qazi, who we will see in the film. In this film, Kagojer Phul, The Paper Flowers, Masud was attempting to go back in history to show the impacts of the Great Calcutta killings, Noakhali riots, Indian independence movement, and the demands of Pakistan on those who survived through them. Through his artisanal mode of storytelling, Masud remained true to the name he earned for himself in the course of his filmmaking, Cine Feriwala, the one who vendors films. He took his films to small town and rural audiences. Naila Khan, one of the protagonists in Masud's Songs of Freedom, Mukti Kotha, says, Tareque didn't just stop when he finished Mukti Gan. He also screened the film all over Bangladesh. Tareque made everyone listen to the Songs of Freedom. I witnessed Tareque screening Mukti Gan to thousands of villagers on a school playground in Thonobari, which is a village outside Dhaka. I remember a snake charmer telling me how much they had forgotten about the war, how much they had been tortured, and how many had been shot and slaughtered. Tareque Masud was a politically conscious filmmaker and writer too, as is evident from his critique of the capitalist transactional international film festival circuits to which he took The Claybird in the face of the film being censored by the Bangladesh Film Censor Board during that time. He also did not deter to condemn the Iraq War as the film was being screened at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. When the film was released in the UK, Peter Bradshaw aptly summed up the image and essence of The Claybird in his critique in The Guardian. Yearning to escape its earthly form, I'll take flight. I hope you enjoy the film tonight, The Claybird, poignantly and empathetically made by one of the finest storytellers in South Asia, Tareque Masud. Thank you.